glad you attended it. It's really important that you participate in this. This is really the root of what we're all about with the CDC. And there's events that take place that you look back and say, I'm glad I did, or I wish I had. And I think this is going to be one of those events that you look back and say, I'm really glad that I attended that, participated in that. And as the community grows and shapes into the vision that this group will be helping participate set, that you'll be able to look back, I think, with some degree of pride that you were participating in that and you have contributed to that. So I really want to strongly encourage all of our board members to, I know we're all volunteers on this board, but strongly encourage you to mark that date on your calendar. You'll probably, if you're working, you'll need to take some time, probably leave early from work. It starts at 4 o'clock in the location, whether it's here or over at Grayson College, wherever. Please mark that, note that, reserve that time. I can't encourage this board strongly enough to participate in it. Okay. Facade grant for signage at State Farm located at 2174 Van Alstyne Parkway. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion by Brad Clough. I need a second. All right. Any questions, amendments to the motion? All right. All in favor of the motion, your right hand, please. And it's carried unanimously. There are 3 facade grants for Billy Turner for improvements related to 233 East Jefferson Street. I need a motion on, so we're going to break those up into 3 different discussions and votes, one for each of the grants. So the first one is for, I think we discussed, was for the stucco repair. A grant requested an amount of, the correct amount is $4,725, which is 50% of the projected budget of $9,450. So I need a motion on that one. Motion with Dustin. Second. Dan Kelly seconds it. Any discussion, questions, or amendments to this motion? None are found. All right, all in favor? Your right hand, please. Thank you. And it's so approved unanimously. The next facade grant for Billy Turner is we're discussing awnings. That facade grant on the front, it said $5,000, but the actual amount is $47,8750 is what we discussed in closed sessions. Would be the amount that was discussed. I need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Alicia Cole makes the motion.
I'll second.
And Dee seconds it. Any discussion, amendments to the motion? All right, all in favor, right hand please. And it's approved unanimously. The final, the third grant request is for doors and windows for Billy Turner, Bill Smith's Cafe. And the grant request was for $5,000. The amount of the projected budget is $10,085. With half of that would max out at $5,000 on our grants. So I need a motion on that one.
Move to approve.
Rodney makes the motion. Need a second? Second by Dan Kelly. Discussion. All in favor of the motion? With the right hand, please. And it's approved unanimously. So those are all approved.
The one says Billboard Marketing Plan 2024. And the second portion of this is actually a contract by Lamar for $7,176. And so let me go through this if I can too. So we actually have, the Billboard Marketing Plan looks at the total cost for investment for our billboards. It's $39,503. This includes 2 Lamar signs and or a dealer billboard signs. The lease, if you want to call it a lease, is part of this is a cost of $7,176. And so that is the actual physical billboard that we...
So that one's the one off of 75-902 when you're going into Howe.
We'll actually have one more from Lamar and also we'll have one more from Diller before this board. But since we're talking about that, we want to at least have the billboard marketing plan, and or we'll, if we want this billboard here in the future, we'll need to renew this agreement tonight for $7,176. Our total market cost for this is $39,503. When we have the marketing plan, I just want to give the board an idea of some things we may do this year. Obviously, we can change this up. You know, And we try to update it. If we did this Bill Smith Cafe, we could do him on the, north and south side for one side for a term of like January through March. Different things that we've done. There's the summer concert series. We've done a fall festival, and then also you see the Christmas celebration signs up. So this is something we can have more in depth, but I just wanted to kind of throw this in the context for the board. The other thing too is that we have the smaller signs for Diller, and so that's actually a 2-panel board, and it's a lot smaller. And so we've advertised downtown businesses, boutiques. We can do restaurants. That I think the Van Alstyne College has had Grayson College has had a billboard that's faded up there for like the last year. So there's 2 messages on that. So we have some flexibility with that, and that's on the second page of this. We can refine this as the year goes on, but I just want to give the board an idea of the costs associated with this and the need that we have our first lease coming up. And so the other thing we've looked to do is possibly rotate maybe restaurants and boutiques and stuff. We can come back with a more refined message with this, just to kind of serve the businesses that are downtown. Some move, other ones come in, whatever it might be. So I'm happy with
businesses to queue up. They would pay for the vinyl, we pay for the lease, but there should be a list that we should be swapping.
I think there is a list. I think we ought to update that and then update the policy and then have that discussion.
So what's the opportunity, Paige, David, of talking to Lamar about getting a board that's positioned on the southbound side facing this?
We can certainly do that. With the next lease coming up, we can certainly look to do that. Or even with this lease too, to be honest.
I think there's some value in having billboards. I just don't know how much value. That's why I brought it up. So we're spending close to $40,000 a year here. Can we get more bang for a buck elsewhere? Not that I want to abandon it, but I just want to evaluate it. I think it's a reasonable request.
I have some information as far as EDA grants here later and activity I've done, but I put this as a request from one of the board members. So if that's related to the EDA thing, then I'll pick it up there. There is a grant available. The initial feedback I got was that as a community, being in Collin County and Grayson County, we are too wealthy to qualify for that. Drilling down a little bit more, I found that there is a possibility to do that, but we're going to have to be pretty wide base and probably get some outside help to be able to fill this out, because if our business park pulls people in from Oklahoma, then that would help us to be able to be awarded a grant. That being said, I reached out to a group called Mike Barnes, the Barnes Group, and I had a very specific task. I wanted to find somebody who had actually worked for the EDA, and I found a gentleman named Richard Schnabner, who worked with the Boston office for the EDA for 25 years. So he's retired now. And so part of my purpose was to see about somebody who could come in and possibly assist us on doing the grant. So I am working with them as far as getting a proposal for services. He initially sent me a proposal, but it was more as an advisor versus, if you want to call it, from beginning to end, because we need somebody to assist us with filling out the form, helping us collect the data. We need somebody to help us on the submittal side when it actually goes to the state, and then, for the government office in Austin and or with the Council of Governments. The other thing too is that we need somebody to kind of shepherd it through the process, and so that was something to tee up and try to do this. There's a space at 2041 East Marshall that's going to come up here in December. I've actually talked to the building owner, and he is very happy to work with us and work with me to fill that space with some type of restaurant and or business that could use that space. We know that lease is coming up.
Are you referring to Sweet Teas?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
We should generate some interest and try to pursue that.
Any action for us or anything you need from us?
Not at this point, because obviously the lease is not up yet, but I've already had discussions with the property owner, and So with that, I think the very first thing I want to do is try to replat this property. I've already talked to Crystal about doing a marketing video here in the new year. That's something that we'd have to work out the parameters here with this board and the city manager's office, and then develop a budget.
We're looking at development in Van Alstyne coming on the Highway 75, Van Alstyne Parkway, the west side of that corridor that will really ultimately become downtown Van Alstyne as far as a business district. We'd like to draw a circle around some of that land there and create a tax reinvestment zone. The downtown revitalization project phase 3, which is Van Alstyne Parkway from the railroad tracks to Waco and from Van Alstyne Parkway down to Cooper on Preston Street, is underway. Phase 4 of the downtown street project is the balance from Cooper Street, or balance of Preston on Cooper down to Marshall, turning east on Marshall up to Main, and from Main Street from Marshall back to Jefferson. That is at the 95% plan stage. Once I get a full set of architectural plans, we'll put that out for the bid. Megatel, the development north of Van Alstyne on Farmington Road on the west side of Highway 75. I think that project is imminent. That is 3,550 homes, 1,000 apartments, plus definitely 3,550 homes. Wastewater on the west side of the city. Van Alstyne, for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been working with Anna on a regional solution that would eliminate the need for wastewater treatment plants on the west side of Highway 75 from Farmington down the County Line Road. And what you're doing today is very important for the future of Van Alstyne. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, will be dramatically different than where we are today.